You're listening to Careers and Cocktails, career talk with a twist, hosted by expert recruiter Renee Frey. Let's get this party started.
Hey everybody, welcome to Careers and Cocktails, party people. Today, I'm thrilled to have Jill McNamee. She is a phenomenal businesswoman, someone I met early on in my business venture who gave me some great advice that we'll get into. But let's talk a little bit about how fabulous she is. She's a member of the National Realtors Association and the St. Paul Area Association of Realtors. She specializes in residential real estate in the Twin Cities and Western Wisconsin markets, has a background in sales and customer service management in the retail industry. She lives with her husband, Mark, in Hudson, Wisconsin, is a fabulous mom of 2 boys, and her strength is making people feel comfortable and excited about the real estate transaction with her professionalism and attention to detail. Jill's creative marketing strategies are what continues to keep her moving in this competitive real estate market. She truly likes to help people in every way that she can. So excited to have you here today.
Thank you.
Yeah, and today we are going to drink an Arnold Palmer. Some of you may not know, but Arnold Palmer was the name of a professional American golfer, and he was known to request the combination of iced tea and lemonade, so they attribute the invention to Arnold Palmer. So we're going to get started. All you do is mix half and half lemonade and half iced tea. And today we are drinking Gold Peak unsweetened iced tea. And we have our cute little polka dot cups. I will pour this in here and hand it to you. Make yours first. And then we will. And this is in a beautiful glass pitcher.
Love the summer pitcher.
I know, right? With the fresh lemons and lemonade. There you go.
Thank you.
And I'm pouring the tasty lemonade into my cute little polka dot green cup. And we will top it with lemonade. And we gotta have a lemon to garnish, right? Make it fun. And
beautiful.
You can add, Jill was saying, you can add vodka to this, and then it's called
John Daly.
John Daly, which is a fantastic cocktail, I'm sure.
I think he's another golfer.
Is he really? Cheers. Oh, yum. So delicious. So, Jill, what's your favorite thing to drink?
Well, really, actually, my favorite thing of all time is coffee.
Oh, okay.
I'm a coffee freak. I'm kind of a coffee snob a little bit.
Hey, tell me. I am too.
Yeah.
I'm all about the Nespresso. So what's your go-to?
Well, I like Starbucks is my favorite if I'm making it at home.
Okay.
Obviously. I'm not into like the foo-foo coffee drinks.
Me
I mean,
either.
I'll once in a while have a white mocha, but really straight up
Me
black
too.
coffee is my thing.
Me too. I love it. So then do you grind it at home? Do you buy the beans?
I
or
actually buy it already ground.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
With Starbucks.
Yep.
I love Starbucks too.
Yeah, it's my favorite.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And refresh my memory on how we met.
I think we met through St. Croix Valley Girls.
I do believe you're right.
Mm-hmm.
And tell us about that. So this is a group that Jill,
Yep.
You tell us about St. Croix Valley Girls.
St. Croix Valley Girls is a networking group. It's open to really anyone that wants to be a part of it. We even have people who are looking for work who come just to network.
Absolutely.
We have people that work from home who are, again, just looking to get out with adults and away from their home office. So it's a really diverse group. We have business owners of sort of all kinds, and I don't really limit it to only one profession. So there may be many realtors there 1 month. There may be many insurance people, mortgage people. So it's different than like a BNI type setting in that we still, the goal is still passing referrals and supporting one another.
Sure.
However, I kind of feel like there's a friend of mine once said enough sunshine for all of us. And So I don't really like to just limit it to
Yeah.
one. So it's a networking meeting. We meet for lunch. We have speakers who are, sharing educational topics, and it's just a really great, fun time. We meet once a month.
It's a great group. I remember, funny how you say need to get out and socialize, because when I started my business and my partner quit 8 months in, that's when I came to the meeting, because I'm like, I got to get out of this house. I can't be by myself. And so I would come and learn great things from the speakers and network with other members in the community. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So Jill, pretend I'm a kindergartner. I'm sitting at my little desk. I'm about half the size. Explain to me what you do for a living.
Well, the easy answer, because you're a kindergartner, is the house you're living in with your mom and dad. I would help your parents purchase a home to live in.
Awesome.
That's the easy answer for a kindergartner. Now, if I'm talking to another realtor who's getting into the business, I would say I'm in the lead generation business. Because, what they don't teach you in real estate school is, there's no houses to sell if you're not lead generating.
Right.
So, like I said, if I'm talking to someone who understands what lead gen is, I would say I'm in the lead generation business.
Yeah. And you've done some really creative things for lead generation, or how you stay in touch. Like, I recently got she and I have not chatted in a while, and she wrote me an awesome handwritten note just saying, I'm thinking about you, and sent me a free sandwich to Buddies.
Yeah.
So tell me about the creative things you do for lead gen.
So one of our team's core values is community. And so I, early on in my real estate career, knew that I wanted to be out in the community, giving back to the community. I love where I live in Hudson, and really partnering with other business owners, I feel like, is a win-win. And I never really wanted to be the icky salesperson that walked in and introduced myself and said, hey, do you need to buy or sell a house? To me, that's not the way I wanted to approach people. So I always think, when I'm meeting someone new, like, how can I add value to this person? And when you talk about Buddy's Bakery, just making that transition and opening now as Buddy's after it had been Brugger's for so many years, I knew that, if I approached them and said, hey, I have an idea, I'm always looking for something to send my clients and my referral partners. Let's work together and come up with something that'll help me drive business into your store. Yeah. And yet at the same time, you felt the warm fuzzy when you got the card with the free sandwich coupon.
Absolutely.
So it's supporting their business, which also helps me, have creative things to help my business too.
Right. I love that. It's mutual benefiting too. I love that, Jill. I love that. So what can we celebrate for you this week?
Oh gosh, I'm celebrating all month. So I have the 5.
Cheers.
I know. Cheers. It's birthday month for my family. So the 5 closest people to me all celebrated birthdays. They're all like 5 days apart.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's what I'm
cake,
celebrating.
like, every single day?
I'm like probably going to gain 30 pounds this month, because it's like every other day we're having cake, whatever, ice cream. Yeah. Fun. So my daughter-in-law, my grandson, he just turned 4, my son, my other son, and now my husband. So that's 5 people, like literally within a 2-week time span.
I'm coming to your house for some cake.
I know.
So you lead an incredibly successful real estate company. And tell me about your journey. How did you get there?
Well, I started in real estate in 2008. Not the ideal time to go get a real estate license. So everybody, all my friends and family were like, are you from outer space? Like, what are you thinking? That's like the dumbest thing ever, right? But if I look back on my journey now and I had it to do over, I would say I picked the perfect time to start, because what it taught me in the beginning are the tools that I needed to be successful later on in my career. And when I started, a lot of agents were leaving the business, and so my phone wasn't ringing. I knew I needed to find a way to go find the people where they are. And that's sort of how St. Croix Valley Girls was born. I needed a way to get to know people, meet people, grow my database. And so I just went out and started knocking on doors and said, hey, I have this great group. Even before I had anything, that was how I met people. And people are more receptive when you go to them and introduce yourself and have something of value to give. I think people are more open to chatting with you and getting to know you. And yeah. So, getting into real estate, I have a background. I worked for a marketing company for 18 years, and then I owned a retail store in Hudson for 4 years
Wow.
too. Yeah, which you may not know. I had the Scrap Lady store when scrapbooking was a big thing. And so that was sort of my little 4-year stint in the retail business. And what I loved about retail was the people part of it. I loved, my store was kind of like Cheers, where people would come in and sit behind the wrap desk, and we'd have conversations, and I knew everyone that came in by their first name, what their kids were doing. And so I built a lot of relationships during that time that became my first real estate clients when I got my real estate license.
Awesome.
So, it's the relationship building part of it that I loved. And that's sort of what drew me to real estate after I closed my store was, I needed to have something where I'm, connecting with people. And
absolutely.
Yeah,
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
The power of networking is a topic I often share and I'm adamant about. Can you share your tips for networking?
Well, I think some people do networking the wrong way, and they'll go to an event and they'll come home with a stack of business cards, and they put them in their CRM and they start emailing them and dripping on them. And to me, networking is more of like you're building a relationship. So, if the card goes in the CRM and you're just dripping on them, like, I'm not going to feel like I can give you a referral if I don't know you and what your values are. And if my customers are going to get good service from you, I like to actually follow up and say, hey, let's grab a coffee to get to know each other. And then when you're at coffee, I always make an effort to find out about you and make it more about you and not about me, because they're going to eventually ask about me anyway. But again, it's bringing value to the other person and making them feel special.
Sure.
And that's what networking is to me, is having a relationship with someone and feeling confident that if I refer someone to you, that you're going to take the very best care of them.
Absolutely.
And I don't ever have to worry about, I referred you that person and I never heard, like, did it turn into business? I never got a thank you, nothing. And there's nothing worse than making a referral and then having to wonder, whatever happened.
I know.
Because it's like, well, then you're just not really feeling confident that the person got served in a way that you want them to be served.
Absolutely.
So,
have you always been good at relationships and building those strong relationships?
Yeah, I do think like that's one of my strong points. We all have our things that we're good at, and I'm sure you're a big proponent of like the strength finders. And, disc profile and all those. So,
done them all.
Yeah,
with my team.
yes, of course. And so mine is relationships is one of my top. The woo for
too.
strength finders is one of my top, and so I guess. Although when I was in high school, I was a little bit shy, which is kind of odd.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, I think I didn't really come out of my box until I, had my kids and, actually went into the workforce, and when I was working for the marketing agency, because, working at a place like that is very, marketing is something that you can't really be shy. It's
right.
Like, you have to have the confidence to put yourself out there. And
Exactly. So how do you set yourself apart from all the other realtors in the market, Jill?
Yeah. Well, that is hard, right? You have to be there. I read a book once called Positioning, The Battle for Your Mind. It's by Jack Reese, and Trout is the other guy. But super awesome book if you haven't read it.
No, I haven't. I'll have to add it to my list.
Yeah, they talk about in this book that every person has 2 spots in your mind for a realtor or an insurance person or a dentist or whatever. And if I'm not one of your 2 and your neighbor or someone asks you for a referral for a real estate agent, if I'm not like first to come top of mind, I'm not going to get your referral. You're going to name someone else or whatever. So I learned, again, early on through Keller Williams, that you have to touch someone. Now we say it's 36 times. When I first started, they said it was, 33 times throughout the year. But what our team does is just making sure that we're consistently touching a person that's in our database 36 times a year or more. And, that's
rigorous.
Yeah, it is rigorous. But what happens is sometimes you don't even know you're doing it. That card that you got was a part of my touch system.
Got it.
And you just said, we hadn't really talked for a while, whatever.
But you wrote a personal note. You wrote it with a pen and paper on the card.
So, part of that, when you say, oh, that's really aggressive, it is aggressive. But usually we try to do it in a way that you don't even know.
I didn't even know.
So the idea...
But I love that you know the exact number. I mean, I'm the same with my business. I know how many people need to interview, how many people are going to get the job, all that data. That's awesome.
Yeah, and for us, it's really more like you have to be creative in how you're touching your people. So like my St. Croix Valley Girls list alone is close to 1,000 people now, and they're getting 3 touches a month.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're still, I think you're still on that list.
I'm still on the list.
You're probably getting 3 or 4 emails from us a month reminding you of the next meeting, and it's branded to the McNamee team also, which makes you think of us. And then too, it's not just using one form. Like if I called you every month, or if I called you 36 times a year, you'd be like, oh my God, this Jill person is like way out there and weird. But you do it in a way that, one might be a note, like I did. One might be an email monthly for our newsletter or whatever. One might be the inviting you to one of our events. We do several free events in the community every year. And then it's calling you.
Yep.
Hey,
you've done all of those.
Yep. Hey, did you get the postcard for the Bubbles and Bobbles event next week? Whatever. Yeah. So it's making it subtle enough. So like you just said, you don't really realize it's happening to you when it's happening.
You're doing a great job because I had no clue.
Oh, well, that's good. Well,
great. And you've done all of those things. Called me, emailed me, sent me a handwritten note. Awesome. Yeah. How has social media impacted your business, Jill?
Well, social media, I love social media because, obviously you can do it in ways where it's not going to cost you money. And I think, it's being, doing the video is a big thing. I'm trying to do more of that, although I just have to get over myself because, we all are like, oh, I hate the way I sound on audio. I hate the way I look on video. It's like, get over yourself. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. I'm working on doing that more. But social media, again, with the homes that we're selling, getting those out there, that to me is another touch. And it's kind of like proof of success. If we take pictures at our closings with our, happy clients holding a sold sign or whatever, we're telling the universe that we're selling a lot of homes. Our clients are happy. And I mean, it's totally free. How can you beat it? It's social media. So I love social media for that way, also when we do have events where we are inviting the whole community, it helps to get the word out, and the community then notices that, oh, the McNamee team, they're always supporting the community. They're having a free gingerbread event at the YMCA and, things like that. It's so,
that's terrific.
Yeah.
That's terrific. Just like any career, it's not all snow cones and rainbows, Jill.
Yes.
So share with us a challenge you've encountered and how you overcame it.
Oh, gosh. I don't know if I would say I have a daily challenge. And for me, I mean, honestly, it's leadership. It's learning how to be a leader. Because when I first got my real estate license, even though it was my goal to someday have a team and sell hundreds of homes a year and whatever, I didn't know how I was going to do that. I didn't feel like I had leadership skills at that time. And leadership is hard and it's lonely. And I would say that's probably the hardest part of my job right now is managing my team and making sure that, they're getting what they need from me and having the hard conversations when those need to be had and hiring and firing and it's all a part of it that I shouldn't say I didn't know that having a team meant I would have to do that, but it's figuring out how to get better every day,
right,
so that they get what they need from me as a leader.
Yeah.
And then trying to focus on all of that and still being in production at the same time, because I still sell.
Right.
So it's like, how do I meet my production goal when I have all this other stuff getting in my way, you know?
So you're what I call a working leader, working manager.
Yeah, totally. And, you know, with real estate, I don't know if you know this statistic about real estate, but 1 out of 5 agents doesn't make it past their first year in real estate.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, over the 8 years that I've been building my real estate team, I've gone from having 11 people on my team to having 5 in a matter of, you know, I mean, it's just
Sure.
so when you talk about recruiting talent, I'm a talent search as part of my role on my team. Is if I'm going to continue forging ahead and growing a team, I always have to be in, you know, talking to future realtors.
Absolutely.
You know, people that are thinking about getting into the business, or maybe realtors who are already in the business that could use the support of a team. So that's very challenging.
It is very
for me.
challenging.
Yeah.
And you, Jill, gave me the best advice when we sat down for coffee to get to know one another way back, probably 4 years ago now. And I was asking you for business advice, and you said, hire people as fast as you can. And then I went out and did it.
Mm-hmm. It's scary. It is scary, but you have to look at them as leverage and not necessarily an expense.
Right.
And I think that's where we had that conversation. Is at the time you were just separating and going off on your own.
Yeah.
And it is scary, and you have to just look at it as you're making an investment in your future.
Absolutely.
And your company's future.
And I couldn't do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing everything. And when I finally found some people to join my team, the relief. I was like, I don't have to do it all, you know?
Right.
So you had given me great advice.
Well, and look, and the other thing is, don't be afraid to hire somebody better than you either.
Oh, I wish I could find them.
Because, you know, it's like...
Absolutely.
You know, if you're afraid to look for you know, the fear is always, well, if I hire someone better than me, they're going to leave. They're going to eventually leave me. Well, who cares?
Yeah.
Then you just go out and find another person
Absolutely.
that's better than you.
Absolutely.
You know, and yeah, so that's my motto, is like, when I decide, you know, who I'm going to get in business with, it's like, well, I want them to be either equally as good as me or better.
I agree. I totally agree. We agree on that. So you help people during a very vulnerable time in their life sometimes, which is also, you know, could be incredibly rewarding and challenging. I'm sure you have some unforgettable stories that come to mind. Any you'd like to share? Oh,
yeah. I mean, I would say overall, you know, there's definitely been there's one in particular that's a very sad story, so I'm not gonna tell that. But I could write a book. It's just, you know, especially different times, people are divorcing, things like that, or maybe they can't afford to stay in their house any longer. Like when I first started in real estate, I was dealing with a lot of short sales and foreclosures and things like that. And just having to sit down with people and tell them, you know, you're totally upside down. Your house is, you know, you owe this much. Your house is only worth this much. It is challenging, and I think the biggest part of it is just letting people know you care. We had a client one time, and this is kind of going overboard in helping clients, but they were going through a divorce, and they needed a place to stay for a little bit, and so they actually ended up staying with one of our team members for a little bit until, you know, because they needed assistance, and, you know,
that's like the red carpet.
Right. I know. So, but you know what I mean? It's not even on that level. It's, you can still show people that you care in other ways. And I think, you know, that's when you say, you know, what sets you apart, it's, you know, you have to make sure that your clients understand that you care about them. And
sure.
It's not about the paycheck. And that's probably the biggest thing that I always try to keep in mind, is that, you know, how can we leave them with the feeling like they really cared about us?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I love that. So if you were able to sit down with your 20-year-old self, what would you tell Miss Jill?
What would I tell myself? I would say, don't listen to the chatter of the haters or the doubters, because even people that are closest to you in your life may not always, I'm not saying like not be supportive, but you may come up with an idea that you think is good and that everyone else around you is like, it's kind of like me getting into real estate. If I would have listened at that time, I wouldn't be where I am today. However, I still have a really hard time not caring what people think. So if I could talk to my 20-year-old self, it's don't care what other people think. It's not, don't compare yourself to others, because I do struggle with that too. Like, oh, that realtor's doing that amount of production or volume or whatever. And, that makes it really hard to celebrate where I have come in my career.
Absolutely.
And, when I'm constantly comparing myself to others, it makes me, it's hard to move forward every day and be excited about what you do, and you kind of get down on yourself. So that would be the advice that I would give myself.
Awesome. Well, I don't think you're alone. I think a lot of people compare, and
especially with social media now.
Oh my gosh.
It's really, it's all over.
I know, everything's there.
Uh-huh.
What's the best advice you've ever gotten?
The best advice I've ever gotten was from one of my real estate mentors that I met early on in my real estate career. And she told me, just do not get ready to get ready. Get into action, no matter what it is. You don't have to have the beautiful brochure. You don't have to have the beautiful business card. Just do something. Show up every day and do something. And
I love that.
Because there's so many real estate too. It's like they get their license and they don't teach us in real estate school how to get a client. They teach us how to write a contract. So you get out of real estate school and you're like, oh, now I'm a realtor. Now what do I do?
Yeah.
And like I told you when we first started the podcast, like I'm in the lead generation business.
Right.
So if I don't know how to lead generate, I'm never going to have any clients to help. So that's the part of it is, it's the whole getting ready to get ready. Like they kind of go, well, what do? I need a business card. I can't go knock on a door when I don't have a business card. Well, you can. There's lots of ways around it. It's just a matter of, people just don't do it. So I would say stop getting ready to get ready and get into action.
I love it. I'm a huge action taker.
Yeah. Even if it's not perfect,
Of course.
It doesn't have to be. I mean, look at the iPhone. How many, update after update.
Oh,
if they would have waited till it is where it is now, think of how many years
I know.
they would have lost. So you evolve as you grow. And I think, it's just every step of the way you're learning and adjusting. So
I totally agree. Mm-hmm. So where can our listeners find you, Jill?
Well, let's see. They can find me we have our McNamee team on Facebook. You can always find us on Facebook. They can call us if they need help with real estate, call us at our office at 715-377-4774. Or we have a website. They can go to the McNamee team website as well. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for all the value bombs. Yes. Take action, everybody.
Yeah.
If you have enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and click the bell so you don't miss any updates. For all of you hiring leaders in need of finding the best talent, you can go to careersandcocktails.com and download my free hiring guide. And for all of you job seekers who hate your Mondays, go to the same website to see where to purchase my book, I Hate Mondays, so you can start loving yours. Cheers.
Cheers.